Call Neil Diamond because the lyrics to Sweet Caroline need to be rewritten for a second stimulus check. Hey, good evening, everybody. This is LALATE. Hope you're good and safe. This is Evening's LALATE, our evening program that starts every night at 6:45, a one-hour programming block that starts at the check and then goes to EIDL, that wonderful thing with the scars. Shocking, scandalous, and really what the hell mixed news with great news tonight about your second stimulus check. And it's a lot of really, I can't believe I'm reporting this news. Caroline Maloney, who of course again is out of New York. It seems like everything I'm talking about lately is out of New York, whether it's bailout of states, the issue of New York being bailed out on the second stimulus check, Chuck Schumer arguing for stuff for New York as a member of the New York Congressional Caucus, and now Caroline Maloney, a representative out of New York, wants to put your second stimulus check in line behind Congress's second stimulus check. It really has gotten to this situation. LALATE has uncovered really a shocking development today in what is called DAA. In the last 2 days and released today is a congressional bill authored by Caroline Maloney, which Nancy Pelosi loves so much that she called all members of Congress back into town, not for your stimulus check initially, but really for this. But they'll get to it. This is the important thing for them at the moment. Yeah, more about that in a second. Caroline Maloney doesn't draft anything about your second stimulus check over the mere 5-sentence bill that she writes. It's literally 5 sentences. She talks about the post office and how we have to have a bill to ensure that the post office delivers ballots so that members of the House are reelected and they get their check next week and next month and next year. While you're sitting around wondering where your check was from April, May, June, July, and August, and why your second stimulus check, which everyone agrees upon, there's agreement. Remember that guy with the purple shirt has told you for 2 weeks? There's an agreement upon your check. Your check can't be sent out because instead of it being in a 2-paragraph, 5-sentence bill like Caroline wrote for her own check, it's in a 125-page second stimulus package that goes on and on and on, talking about stuff that really just no one wants to hear about. Yeah. This is why no one likes politicians. LALATE has, tonight I'm going to be discussing with you the second stimulus check, really shocking developments about FPUC, which is now called LWA. It's these names. And you really have to stay with me for that. And moreover, the shocking developments about rent assistance and rent eviction moratoriums. All right, let me get to your check. $1,200 second stimulus check. This is the easy part. This is the easy part of the video. Everyone has agreed upon your check. They've agreed upon your check. They just can't get it sent out. Let me explain to you why. $1,200 second stimulus check. Everyone has agreed that it'll be a $1,200 second stimulus check for non-dependents. It would be sent out. It would be a second round of stimulus checks. This would not be your final check, but it would be the check of the moment. The moment was last July. It was actually May and June and July, but this is the moment of the moment. And the stimulus check would be delivered to non-dependents as well. The areas of non-agreement so far are the dependents. The Republicans propose $500 for dependents, and the Democrats propose $1,200. Another issue of non-agreement is the number of people in the household. The Democrats propose a 5-member household. The Republicans were just really not clear. Suddenly we were told last Friday by the president that he had a new position about it. I don't know if that's what the Republicans' position was about it. So far, until last Friday, the only thing we heard that was different between the Republicans and the Democrats was one thing: the dependent $500 under the Republican proposal. The Democrat proposal was $1,200. Everyone's getting a check, whether you're a minor dependent, adult dependent. That's the great news. Under the first stimulus package, people who were adult dependents didn't get a first stimulus check. This time they would, but there's one issue of disagreement before last Friday's tweets, that the dependent under the Republican plan will get $500 and under the Democrat plan will get $1,200. The other issue that was not of agreement until last Friday's tweets was the issue of child support. Under the Democrat plan, child support would not be taken out under the second stimulus package. The Republican plan, it would be taken out. To answer all those child support questions, answered right off the top, so you got the answer. Now, President Trump on Friday dropped that tweet that sort of threw the mathematics, into a disarray, enough to give Larry Kudlow, a migraine, his mathematical capabilities. The president said $3,400 for a household of 4 versus the Democrats' proposal of a family of 5 for a second stimulus package of $6,000. How does that equate? It equates the same for the married couple, $1,200, $2,400, both in the Trump's tweets and the Democrat bill. Same thing. The issue is the number of dependents and the amount of dependents. Trump gives you 2 dependents, and Trump gives you up to a household of 4 individuals, and Pelosi gives you up to a household of 5 individuals. Her individuals all getting $1,200, hence 5 times $1,200, $6,000. Trump would say, hey, if it's a single mom with 3 kids, you would get $1,200, $500, $500, $500. How's that for math? Really fast. Thank God I got that right. Okay, so that was that. And then there's this. Members of Congress are back in session. And, they're not in session today. They're coming back on Sunday. And yeah, that certainly sent the viewers of this channel into disarray. What are they doing for an entire week? They're at the Democrat convention because they get free food and they get free board and they get free drinks. I'm not exaggerating. That's what they get. And they're there and they get all these wonderful things. While you're wondering where is your money for your food, your money for your electricity, your money for your rent, they're living in they're going to be in a luxurious, beautiful hotel with wonderful free dining, and paid by the Democratic caucus, which was put in there by whatever. And the Republicans are going to do the same thing, but they're not working on your second stimulus. So they're coming back on Sunday because of Caroline. And Caroline's not working for you, even though you pay her salary. Caroline wrote a 2-page bill, and the 2-page bill is about Louis DeJoy. Who's, is a whole channel unto himself. And it's the Toastmaster scandal about, moving post mailboxes and all that wonderful stuff, which I won't bore you with tonight because I did yesterday. Well, she doesn't like it. Nor does Nancy Pelosi, nor do the Democrats, because ultimately, if Louis DeJoy is moving mailboxes, then maybe some people won't have a job in a few months because they think that the election will be rigged and that the results will be corrupted. And they won't have a job and they won't have an employment check and they won't be able to make rent. So they have to rush a bill in to protect their own butts and to protect their own jobs and their livelihoods while you're sitting around wondering, where the hell is my damn stimulus check? Now, if that's not enough, here's this. We have been told by Nancy Pelosi for 3 weeks that, to paraphrase, Democrats back in May, introduced a HEROES Act, and we proposed it, and we authorized it, and we signed it, and we sent it to the Senate, and the Democrats have done nothing, and the Republicans have done nothing about it for 4 months. We took care of this situation. Okay, why didn't you do what Caroline did? She saw a problem that was urgent with Postmaster DeJoy, and she wrote a 1-page bill, a couple 5 sentences, and said, hey, we have an emergency. Sign this bill. No. What did you do? You took the stimulus check, which millions and millions and millions of Americans need right away. They need faster than a postmaster investigation, which just happened, in the last 2 weeks. It wasn't. It didn't happen while Congress was in session last week. Remember, it didn't happen when Nancy was sitting with Steve Mnuchin negotiating last week. It didn't happen then. It literally has just happened. Suddenly, you can rush back into town to take care of a postmaster scandal and do a one-page bill to ensure you get your job saved, but you can't do a stimulus check bill since May that it could be also one page, and Carolyn can write it for you. Carolyn from New York can write it for you. You can't do that to get people stimulus checks out. Explain to me why. Also, can't do one to extend FPUC, which expired in July. We all knew it was expired in July. Why couldn't anyone write a one-page bill for the extension of FPUC? We already agreed upon the dollar amount. It was already in the CARES Act before Mitch McConnell came around with his recalculation, reformulation. Just write a bill, one page in July before it expired. Didn't do that either. So it expired. And I'll tell you the hot mess express about that in a second. Didn't do that either. How about eviction moratorium? That's an easy one. One sentence. The pandemic has hit. We need to protect people. No evictions possible until January 2021. Signed, Nancy. Didn't do that either. Republicans didn't do it either. It's not just Nancy's fault. Republicans haven't done that as well. President hasn't done it either. President's, signed an executive order a week ago, claiming to do things which it doesn't do. When people told you it didn't do it, why didn't he fix it? No. Apparently the top priority today is meeting with My Pillow. If you didn't see that. Apparently Oleander and its health beneficiaries for solving coronavirus pontificated by I Love My Pillow, that guy with the My Pillow that hugs it on the commercial, was the top priority today, not your stimulus checks. Nancy's top priority was chasing down a guy with his mailboxes so that she can ensure that the Senate flips to Democrat in the fall. If you haven't seen those commercials on every single channel, it's just vote Democrat, give us some money. They're asking you to give them money when they haven't given you their stimulus checks. Isn't that cute? That's so cute. So how about FPUC, the hot mess express about FPUC, and why aren't you getting your stimulus checks, and when would you get your stimulus checks? They're in town. Steve Mnuchin, Mark Meadows says he wants to negotiate. Nancy Pelosi says she does not want to negotiate unless you do something with this entire package, and there's 15,000 problems with the rest of the package. Okay, Nancy, no one's buying that at this point. No one is buying not to do a second stimulus check separate as a standalone bill and send out the damn check. No one is buying that if Steve and Mark agree to $1,200 for dependents. So as we sit here right tonight, if you like this video, tag Nancy Pelosi and say, hey, and tag Mark Meadows, hey, agree upon $1,200 for dependents, send out a standalone bill for $1,200 stimulus checks. We're done. We're done. Okay, we can do a standalone bill for FPUC, but the check is one of the most important things of this country. Because when you talk about the second stimulus check, it covers people on SSDI, SSI, Social Security and Railroad benefits, and veterans who many are not employed, don't get the benefits of FPUC, don't get the benefits of hazard pay or UI or PUA. They need a stimulus check to pay their rent and not be thrown on the street. They also need an eviction moratorium. More about that in a second. Why isn't Nancy using Caroline, who's very good at writing one-page bills, and getting people to rush back into town to talk about Caroline's, stamps scandal? Why can't they do that for your stimulus check, Nancy? Steve, Mark, agree to $1,200 for dependents and we're all done. Standalone bill done. I just don't know why this is so complicated. I really don't. It's not to say the Treasury is going to go bankrupt because you gave $1,200 to dependents instead of $500. By the way, there's full evidence that there's more than enough money for the Treasury to do that. And no one's getting rich on $1,200 dependent checks as well. All right, so FPUC. FPUC is the hot mess express unto itself. I mean, it's really, but it's only stopping in 8 states if you want to take the train. Hot mess express alert, FPUC, which is now called LWA. Yeah, it's just... LWA, hey, LWA. It's just, Oh, Nicki Minaj needs to cover it. It's just LWA hay is not getting a lot of hay from the FEMA because it's running out of money. The hay is not in the barn. Um, there is literally 3 weeks of it left. It just started. It's that convenient. It's just, hey, we're having a new rollout called LWA. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, because this is FPUC, which expired in late July, which was $600 a week, paid from March all the way to the end of July, was replaced by an executive order a week ago from the president to provide you enhanced unemployment benefits. But at the time, it didn't say who's going to pay for it. The first round was paid by Treasury. So FEMA stepped in and said, we'll pay for it. Or the president understood that FEMA was going to pay for it because Treasury can't. So FEMA decided it was going to pay for it. This just went catch. There's no money. Where's Nene Leakes? I said, Donald Trump check. Well, there's no money in FEMA. They got 3 weeks of checks. They confirmed minutes ago there's 3 weeks of checks available in FEMA. So who's going to get the 3 weeks of checks, which is so much money? It's like 3 times 2. It's insane. The states are Arizona, Iowa, Louisiana, and New Mexico were the first states approved to receive the grants, according to FEMA, an announcement on Saturday. Other states like Colorado have applied for funding. Now, I reported earlier today that Missouri and Colorado had applied for funding and were not approved as of Saturday. Apparently, as of tonight, they are approved for funding. So I think we're at about 8 states now that are currently approved for funding. And with those 8 states, the way FEMA is going to do it is they're going to pay them all $300 a week for an individual. Let me see if I got this right. Yeah, they're going to pay you $300 a week for 3 weeks. And they're going to start with Arizona, Iowa, Louisiana, and New Mexico. Then what they're going to do is see if there's enough money to also pay Missouri and Colorado, the ones that came after them. And there was 2 other states. I think we're at 8 states total. And that there'll be 3 weeks of payments is what they're anticipating for. Now, let me clarify something that makes this even more hideously, insanely confusing. Those 8 states may also, if they want, pay $100 additional to you. All the way, not till the 3 weeks, but December. All right, so let me recap because this is insanely confusing. So you're getting if you're still waiting for your benefits checks from everything up to July, you're still on $600 no matter what state you're on. For everyone after July, if you live in those 4 states, you're definitely getting 3 weeks of benefits at $300. If you live in those 8 states, you're likely to get the 3 weeks at $300. These later 4 states that just got authorization at the time of this video weren't authorized this morning. It appears that FEMA says they have enough money for the 8 states. So that would mean 3 weeks of $300, $900. That's it. Now, the states will or may throw on $100 on top of that. They're not required to. I can't keep track if those 8 states are, but they can pay you an additional $100 a week for the next 3 weeks. They also have authorization under the executive order to pay you $100 per week all the way to December. Now, what happens when Steve and Nancy get this stuff together? Who knows? I mean, when Steve and Nancy ultimately agreed upon FPUC 2.0 at $400-$600 a week, what will happen with this accounting nightmare? I don't know. It is now an accounting nightmare, and no one likes an accounting nightmare. Next, rent assistance moratoriums are just, everyone's head is rolling because Caroline could have done that also. Caroline could have, in understanding that you need a stimulus check right now, could have done a standalone bill that's 1 page, rushed Nancy and her flock of sheep back into Congress to get that second stimulus check out, done the same thing with a 1-page bill for eviction moratoriums, didn't do that. President, on the other hand, he wrote that eviction moratorium executive order that didn't do anything. It's still sitting on the books now a week later, and his priority is meeting with Mr. Pillow to talk about oleander plants. Everyone has your interests at heart. Isn't it wonderful? So as we sit here tonight, people's heads are rolling because they're wondering, okay, I guess we're going through another week of crapola. And we see people not wanting to negotiate. We see people not wanting to do things for us, but they want to get their own checks. They want to ensure their own reelection, so they get their own cushy jobs and their own employment checks coming back still to them as they sit in a nice convention hall having some wonderful dinner tonight. All right, join me next on EIDL. I can't believe where this is going. It's just, they just don't care. They really don't care. Go to the Funds channel, hit the subscribe and alert button. I'm updating anything that I hear, whether it's grants, free money, relief, anything that I can help you. The spirit of this channel, as I indicated before, and I want to reassure you, is to help one another. That's the spirit of this channel. There are people who are killing, not helping you, and their name starts with a C and ends with an S, Congress. So the spirit of this channel is for one another, to help one another. I hope you keep that in mind. I hope you keep the spirit alive in helping people around you, whether they're on the channel or other people you walk in your day of life. We will get through this together. We will stay motivated. We will stay inspired. We will stay focused, and we'll also stay here as well. See you next on EIDL, and join me tomorrow morning at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time for Mornings LA Late. Have a great evening.